paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, it's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Brainstorm Brewery, and I want to extend a special welcome to one Jason Alt, who has returned to Brainstorm Brewery after his first missed episode in hundreds of episodes.
You motherfuckers thought you got rid of me. You're not gonna get rid of me that easily.
It was a week. Anyway, we talked about
a
it.
vacation for all of us.
Speaking of, Jason, let's hear about it, though. How was your trip? I saw that you were doing some magic-related things while you were at
Not really.
not Command Fest Seattle.
I went to Seattle.
Bellevue,
The Command Fest
wherever.
was in Bellevue, which is a 30-minute Uber ride away. Didn't feel like paying $35 to get over there, so I just didn't. Didn't get coronavirus like all my friends who went to Command Fest Bellevue, so seems
You
like
just hung out with them
a good
after,
decision.
so you didn't.
I was in a crowd of hundreds of people outside, and they were in a convention hall 4 feet away from somebody wearing a mask, and they got sick, and I didn't, because you should be outdoors. You should be outdoors.
That's our
it's-
pick of the week. Go
it's-
touch
be
grass.
about-
Go
everyone.
touch grass.
Be outdoors. Touch grass.
Name of the episode: Touch grass.
I'm
Jason
not
touches
blaming
grass.
anybody who got.
Jason touches
coronavirus.
grass. Name of the episode.
Corbin's touching
blaming
grass right now.
Never.
That's why his butt don't work. So I had a great time. I met a lot of my magic friends. I had dinner with a lot of my magic friends. It was just a really great trip. My wife and I just relaxed. We just looked at the Pacific Ocean and said, holy shit, man was not meant to live in a cubicle. So she quit her job on the spot, and she's still there picking out a fishing village for us to go move into. And
Yep, this is Jason's last episode, actually.
I
Wi-Fi
had a
on the
real
island's
relaxing
gonna be
time.
spotty.
Seattle's a beautiful city. Everything costs 3 times more than it should, but the portions are 3 times bigger to make up for it. So I just, I had a gigantic pretzel the size of a cafeteria tray from the 90s. And I had a lot of really good food, a lot of really good liquor and beer, and a lot of good dinners with all my good friends. I don't want to shout out anybody individually because I'll forget somebody,
But no commander, no magic.
I played 0. I took 4 decks, including my wife.
Just in case. Just in case.
Just in case. She's like, I don't remember how to play Magic. I'm like, it's Omnath. You'll remember.
4 decks,
You put
so
green
that
mana
it's-
in your mana pool.
Yeah, you brought a pod with you, actually,
it.
in case it
I did.
in case something sprung up. You could provide for everybody. Very generous of you.
But I walked 8 miles a day and gained 2 pounds. So that was
2 pounds
was
of
how I
muscle, Jason. 2 pounds of muscle in those calves, bro.
it could be. There was a lot of good museums. It sounds lame when you're a kid. You're like, museums. Ugh. But there were a lot of great museums in Seattle. I did just all the touristy stuff, but I did some cool people who lived there told me to do this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle's great seafood. I ate a lot of sushi, a lot of crab cakes. That's what you should do when you're there. So I needed it. We haven't had a vacation in 2.5 years. So we're planning our next vacation for our 15th wedding anniversary in 4 years. So we're just going to do a big one. And then our vacations are having our kids take vacations with grandparents. That's what we decided.
Yep.
We're going to do a staycation where we
Seems
just get rid of the
reasonable.
kids and we're like, wow, this house is quiet when it's empty.
It seems reasonable, I think.
I'm sorry I missed last week. I couldn't cast, but I really needed the recharge. And I came back just a more zen individual.
A more zen individual. That's great.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that bring you zen, I learned something new about magic last week. Something I didn't know. And you might argue that it is something I should have known as a host of this podcast, as someone who contracts to Wizards of the Coast, as someone who works in magic, as someone who theoretically plays magic. Maybe I should have known.
You're
Yet-
prefacing this a lot. It's going to be very embarrassing.
I learned something new. Did you know you can spend 100 US American dollars on a singular pack of magic cards printed in 2022?
I did. You can actually go to patreon.com/cardgarden and sign up for the jeweled tier, and you will get $100 at least, minimum,
Oh my God,
guaranteed.
Shut the hell up. No, this is not that. Although that's great. You should go check that out. This is buying a pack of Magic the Gathering cards from Wizards of the Coast for $100. That's a thing
There
you
could
can
be
do.
a Legends common in it, right?
Nope.
Not these ones.
Nope. This is a double Masters collector booster. Retail $100. I was sitting at the store. I went to an F&M just to look at singles and say hi on Friday evening, and someone told me that. And I said, are you kidding me? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
What'd you get in your pack?
It is so stupid. Why?
Corbin,
Why?
You bought a pack. You bought
Bro.
a pack. What was in it?
I said, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. I have to do this. So I bought a pack.
You bought a pack.
And it was, I got to the, for one, I opened a $100 booster pack. And they had foil commons that curl in the front of the pack for like 10 cards. $100 to open a foil draft common curled. I viewed that as an insult.
Corbin, this is like, they did these $100 packs like on the last Double Masters,
Nope.
right? Like
Nope.
2 years.
Nope. It's about what I learned, DJ. What I learned is that
When you got past all the curly cards, then what?
I got to a foil full art foiling oracle. It's beautiful. And I was like, holy shit. This was worth it. This pack was amazing. This is so cool. Everyone was talking about this on Twitter. This card's awesome. The rare was like a foil Murktide
Regent.
And it's like, whatever. That was worth nothing. But I was like, damn, this coiling oracle. So I went and looked it up on TCG Player. Quick return of what's it worth. Jason, what do you think it's worth?
$1.50.
$1.50, he says. DJ.
$1.
You're both wrong. It's about 47 cents. Just truly tragic.
Full art foil.
Yeah, all the full art borderless foils.
With
are,
just
like,
the beautiful
basically
art
full,
by the art.
except for like Blood Artist and Eternal Witness, I think.
50 cents.
Time to foil your decks out, folks.
What the
Some foils
hell?
suck and they're curly and
Yeah, somebody on Twitter said when I posted it said, "Oh, that's so cool! I'm so jealous of that." And I was like, "Turns out it's worth 50 cents. You can get one. I promise. If you play
you should
Magic,
have sold
you
it
can
to him
afford
for
one."
$100.
Fortunately, my super secret ultra god tier flame rare was a foil borderless Ren and 6. But as I learned, it was not a foil borderless textured Ren and 6. So instead of being worth $300, it's worth $100. And I had like a etched foil Supreme Verdict. So you can, say I got my money back more or less.
Is there a Ren and 6 deck that's worth $300?
The only ones that are worth $3,000. Ren and 6 is broken.
I mean, yeah.
So
We laugh.
did
It's
we
a meme
spend
card, but like
5
also, yeah.
yeah.
Why did we spend 5 minutes on this bit when these packs have existed for 2 years?
Do you want to tell him? Do you want to explain to him, Jason? What
Oh,
this?
DJ, it's very simple. He didn't buy one then.
What?
Corbin didn't buy one of those $100 packs.
Oh
then.
yeah. Also, it's a Corbin story, man. Like, what do you want, man? Like,
We haven't done a Corbin story in like 100 episodes because
yeah. Did you know what you signed up for, man?
That's a fair argument.
yeah.
Listeners, this is why there are fewer of you every year.
And it's because you get involved in traffic accidents for falling asleep at the wheel.
But you know who didn't fall asleep at the wheel? The guy who decided to make the segment called Breaking Bulk.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, Breaking Bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
That was me.
That
You were
was-
awake when you got in a car crash or burned
Not,
down a meadow.
oh yeah, but not after the car crash, Jason. I was asleep then.
Asleep and unconscious, I think, are different things.
Are
If there's glass in your face, you're not napping. Right? He's all tuckered out from the steering wheel.
Oh, it's funny because it's what
He's just taking a nap in some blood.
Well, speaking of people who are watching on youtube.com/Brainstorm Brewery, you can see I got a little cut on my nose here. It's gotten better, but I dove into the pool and then was swimming along the bottom to show Ben how to swim from one side to the other, and I slammed my face right into the bottom of the pool. Which you shouldn't do. Like the neighborhood pool, man.
The neighborhood pool?
Yeah. I have a neighborhood. I have an HOA. There's HOA drama. It's a whole thing, man.
Well, la-dee-da. Mr. Fancy Pants bought a $112 chalet in a gated community.
Oh, man. Anyways, back to
Uncommon.
Breaking Bulk.
Time
It's the
Spiral
Time
Uncommon.
Spiral Uncommon from DJ. What color?
Colorless.
Was it in both time spirals?
Ghostfire
think
was
so.
common, right?
Uncommon?
He says
common?
uncommon. He says
I'm verifying that it was not in TSR. It is not. It has one single printing.
Time Spiral Uncommon.
Yep.
Is it a
colorless-
totem?
No.
Okay, that rolls out 5 of the 10 cards it could be.
Oh, man. I don't know if I'm going to know this.
Is it that Locket of Yesteryears?
Ooh, Lucky of
Close
Yesterday?
enough. Lock of Yesterdays.
Yeah.
Oh man!
Good
One
job.
mana artifact. Spells you play cost 1 less to play for each card with the same name as that spell in your graveyard. So it's a niche little Johnny card that does a thing. It spiked a year ago, and I cannot tell you why.
Dragon's Breath or whatever, the dragon.
Oh,
the,
was
the
it
thing.
Dragons?
Yeah,
Maybe? But, do
Yeah.
people play that?
they do. It's fun. It's fun anytime you can break the rules of EDH and have as many copies of a card as you want. Persistent Petitioners, the Rats, and that card. Yeah.
That feels like a deck that is fun to play exactly once, but...
Okay, and then you buy a Locket of Yesterdays, and then you have it.
Sure. I mean,
Who from the finance subreddit didn't be like, I spent $14 and got 900 copies of this card? That shit happens all the time.
That is a fair point. But you can still buy list. It spiked to $2-3. It is back down to under $1, but you can still occasionally buy list them for quarters. I have mine listed right now, I think, for 85 cents on TCG. We will see if they sell. But yeah, it's just a neat little. There's a lot of cards from Time Spiral that used to be picks and no longer are because they have been reprinted into oblivion. This is one of the few cards from that sort of 2005 2004 era that has gone close to 2 decades without a reprint.
Because it was so niche forever.
It's been a while.
Yeah,
it's been a
it's
long
still
time.
is. I mean,
Wow.
It's a bad. It's a
Hard to
bad
believe that.
helm of thing. The helm.
All
You
right.
have to, right, most
Hearthstone.
you have to find a 60 card casual deck that wants to play multiple spells and reduce their cost, but only after you Trinket Mage for a 1 mana art. It's very weird and
Yeah,
not
but Kindle.
good, but,
Kindle's fun, right? I used to play a bunch of Kindles back in the day, man. It was awesome.
That is some boomer stuff right there.
I mean, Kindle-
Not in a bad
Kindle's-
way. It's just old. Those
Kindle's
are
a
old
thing,
cards.
but,
Yeah.
Kindle costs 2 mana, so lock it
Yeah, and now you can play
by 1.
2. You
I mean,
play
imagine
Grafted Skull
it-
Cla- can't,
Listen,
Grafted
Locket of
Skull Cap
Yesterdays is the kind of card that
and Snaring Bridge and Kindles.
Locket of Yesterdays is the kind of card that gets punished so hard by playing into the opposite of Commander space. There's so many class of cards that would appeal to Commander players, except their thing is with having the same name as other cards.
Oh, yeah.
Like the whatever the one dragon out of Dragons of Tarkir, I think it was the legendary dragon.
Kolagon.
Yeah.
Kolagon's fine because it gives your dragons haste.
Maybe not whatever one that was whenever
it's
an
the same
opponent.
one.
Yeah, it is the same one. It's the one with practically the eminence ability, or not eminence. The fucking
It would deal 10 damage if they dealt
Grandeur.
the same. Yeah.
Yeah,
something
it
like
basically
that.
has grandeur, but it also gives dragons haste as people still play it.
Anyway,
It's a
okay,
dragon.
I've got one that you all will never get. I'm pretty confident that you're just never going to get this. It's a red uncommon from Midnight Hunt.
Is it a creature at least? Is that the Epicurean?
Is it the Reckless Fireweaver card? Where it's whenever your creature enters the battlefield, you ping your opponent or something?
Nope.
Does it say blood token somewhere on the card?
No, that was Crimson Vow. I remember seeing something about this card on Twitter, and I remember it's like basically the same version of another card.
mean,
I just don't remember
This
which.
set,
Like,
It's
this
a
set
red
came out. Another
uncommon.
set came out a week later, and then they were done with them already.
no, like I saw this like a day or two ago. It was like very recent.
What's funny, Jason, is because with Midnight Hunt and Crimson Vow, that 6 months ish we spent on Innistrad is actually the longest they spent anywhere in like 2 years.
Like I saw somebody tweeting about like a red uncommon from Innistrad from last year's Innistrad. That's like just a carbon copy of an existing.
It is
card.
that, DJ. It is that. It is not a special card in any way, but it is $2.
Goodness
It's
gracious.
like either Reckless Fireweaver or it's like maybe like a whenever you play a spell you ping them or something like.
Bloodless Bloodweaver.
None of that is correct. No. You all can give
just
up
tell
as
us, man, I don't
usual.
care.
I am the best. Yeah. It is.
You just pick a card from a week ago. I haven't
A
even
week
picked this bulk
ago.
yet. I literally haven't looked at a buy list from like the last
Midnight Hunt. I actually was picking some recently. The card is Play with Fire. So 1 mana red instant. Deals 2 damage to any target. If a player's dealt damage this way, scry 1.
Sure.
This will take
That's-
DJ 5 seconds or 100 years.
That's the correct reaction. All right, Jason, go ahead.
This is a Modern Horizons blue common that is over $1.
Suspend?
Nope.
No, Suspend's a rare, right?
I'm sure I don't know.
Modern Horizons. Oh, Modern Horizons 1, you said?
Modern Horizons.
Fairy Seer?
Yep.
Oh, I just picked one of those.
Yep. Fairy Seer's over $1. 1 mana, like Flying Men. Anything that's unblockable or flying for a mana just has already earmarked for 3 or 4 different decks. Stuff with evasion, like Estrid type stuff, or Grazilax, or just,
It
stuff
has
that's-
Razzalax is the card you just made up right now.
I bet.
Or does
Bet.
it sound like Gary Gygax made it up in the 80s? Because that's what happened. It's a AFR card. So, don't you look stupid.
I don't know what any of that means. You might have made that name up. too.
Grazilax is made up, unlike all other words which are not made up, which were passed us divinely by the creator.
That's an r/I am very smart response, Jason, and you know it.
DJ's like taking notes by the burning bush and like, oh, you didn't mention Grazilax. That one's made up. Nerd. Get out of here. Yeah, Grazilax it's the guy.
Neil deGrasse Tyson replies.
Oh my god. Fairy Seer is actually in several modern decks. It allows you to gives fairies a 1-drop that you can curve into your spell stutter sprite on turn 2. So that's a pretty good one. And I don't know. That's all I got. We just recorded a bunch of after hours thanks to Jason derailing us. So welcome back into the show, everybody. Or welcoming ourselves
Why
back
you throw me
into
under the
you.
train?
Why would you say a train instead of a bus?
Why would you throw me under the train and then complain that we got derailed?
You're lost in
Checkmate.
the sauce, man. I don't know.
One of us is lost for sure, yeah.
It's like a
Have
train.
you ever seen Throw Mama from the Train? That's a remake of that Shakespeare movie, Strangers on a Train.
Get outta
Billy
here,
Crystal and
dude.
Danny DeVito. That movie rules.
I thought it was Bullet Train.
Someone on Twitter said, I can't believe his character's name is really Bullet T. Rain.
Bullet
And
T.
it's
Rain.
not, but I thought that was very funny.
I also liked that tweet.
But, like, also it's very believable. I just hate how
I
every
read that-
movie
okay, so I
wants to
read
be
that
John
tweet.
Wick.
No, I read that tweet and I had like that sounds untrue, but I don't know enough about movies to dispute it moment.
I was like, if you don't believe me, you look it up. Please keep it to yourself. No, man, every movie's trying to be fucking John Wick now, and it just sucks. Oh boy, gunpowder milkshake. Ooh, can't wait for that.
What?
Every movie sucks now.
What
It's either a superhero movie or John Wick or a Jurassic Park sequel. Or an A24 movie.
What are you talking about, Jason?
Or a musical for kids. Everything is one of those 7 things.
I thought it. No, man, you didn't even mention Speed.
Speed, they're not doing movies like Speed anymore. They broke the formula. They tried to
Isn't
do Speed 2 with a boat, and they're like, this just doesn't work out.
Isn't Speed just Hamlet?
It is. It is.
I thought it was
Okay, I'm going to
Othello.
tell you how the movie Speed is Hamlet. Ready?
No.
Who was the uncle that killed
No one knows.
Hamlet's dad?
No one knows. Jason.
That guy. He's Dennis Hopper in the movie, right? Keanu Reeves obviously plays Hamlet. Ophelia is played by Sandra Bullock, right? So
Who else?
Hamlet's mentor, Jeff Daniels, is killed in a bombing. And then Keanu Reeves takes over as the new head of the bomb squad task force. And he has a direct conflict along with Ophelia. But Ophelia dies in Hamlet. Plus, nobody tries to have sex with their own mother like in Hamlet. I'm going to get back to you on this. This is very hard.
Good effort.
I had no belief in this. I shouldn't have started. The point is, everything is the movie Speed, including Bullet Train. That's so obvious. I don't even need to get into it. The train has to go a certain speed, I assume. So there you go.
Great. Thank you for that, Jason. Appreciate it. Yep. Let's move on, please.
Aren't you
Let's
glad I'm
move on.
back?
I have something else to talk about.
What if I
besides-
wasn't here last week and everyone's
No.
like, "This is the best fucking podcast I've ever
No.
heard. Why didn't I like it for 500 episodes?" And then this week they're like, "It's not the same."
I have something real to talk about. So you may remember we talked on this podcast about the company Whatnot, the website, the app, recently. It's a place where people can go to open up stuff. People can watch you do box breaks, that sort of thing. Well, they are moving more into the space, and they are going pretty hard. They are bringing on the one and only Post Malone for a promotional match, promotional event. And most people might think this on the face seems like a cool idea, but here's the thing. I think that once you read into the details of this, it's actually terrible. Here's why. And by the time you listen to this cast, they may have already had this. The patrons will get it. But on August 4th, Post Malone will be doing an event on Whatnot. If you're in the app, you can be entered into a giveaway that will randomly select one opponent to play Post Malone in a match of Magic the following week. You will be flown out to LA to play Posty face-to-face, stream live on Whatnot. I'm reading their website here. And here's the kicker. If you are able to beat Post Malone in a game of Magic the Gathering Commander, you'll walk away with $100,000. And if you lose, I don't know, Post Malone shakes your hand with rings worth millions of dollars each. I don't know. You get fucked. This is absurd. If you look at professional Magic over the last few years, especially we talk about the arena boom and the fact that they were hosting $1 million tournaments, what a lot of people may not know is that the pros aren't, as much as they may look like, robots who are just doing math and blah, 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 it is terribly difficult to have your living depend on the outcome of one match of Magic the Gathering. People were playing for literally hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it was damaging to the psyche of many players between the grind and everything, the burnout. A lot of Magic pros were in a very bad place, and when they did the MPL, a big part of what they did is they wanted to provide for the players was that they wanted to make sure that they had access to resources, and a non-zero number of them took up on, going into sports therapy. That's a real thing. Because it is just incredibly difficult on a professional athlete's body and mind to play for that much money. Okay. So we're going to take a random human being who likes Post Malone and watch game nights, who tunes into Whatnot on their phone, they're going to get entered. They're going to get on August 5th. They're going to find out that they have 6 days to fly to LA, prepare for a match of Commander. Don't know any of the details about it. Against Post Malone, which will surely be recorded, and you're going to have cameras everywhere. It's going to be a media frenzy in the world of, the Whatnot, and there's going to be plenty of promotional things attached to it. And this is just going to be this whirlwind, incredibly difficult experience for this person already. Except they're not there to have fun and meet Post Malone and hang out and have a good time. They're there to play for twice. They're there to play for 2 years of the average salary in the United States of America.
Is that how it works, or is the game a formality and he's going to let you win?
I'm reading what it says, man.
Is it do 3 winners all have to play for $100,000, or is it just like, oh, you met Post Malone and he lets you win and we all shake hands and laugh because the real thing was the drawing?
I'm reading what it says.
All right.
It
just seems like that's
surprised. I thought you were going to go in a different direction with this. I thought you were going to be frustrated with the allocation of marketing funds instead of like.
I mean, look, whatever. Whatnot can spend their money however they want. It's that, you know, it's not about that. For them, they need a big draw to get people in there. It's not about that. I'm just reading what their promotional material says, man. It is very clear. If the opponent is able to beat Post Malone in a game of Magic the Gathering Commander, they'll walk away with $100,000. Maybe it's a formality, but I don't know why you'd phrase it like this. If you know, you can easily phrase it as win $100,000 and fly to LA to play Commander with Post Malone. You know, I don't know, man. Like, I'm just reading what they very clearly made a bullet point. So if I'm wrong, great, but that's what it says. So I wanted to bring that point up because, you know, this is a real thing when it comes to Magic players, especially we know how uncertain all of this is in our own lives and our own careers in this industry, but it's no different for players who are floating in and out of sponsorships. And will Wizards do pro play, or will they give a bunch of money to 32 people and cut everyone else out this year, or the opposite? What's going to happen? We don't know. So, you know, playing matches for money is an incredibly difficult thing. So I certainly hope that it's a formality in this case. So, hey, if you're listening to this as a patron early because you went to patreon.com/BSB, hey, you get the news to tune into Whatnot, which seemed like a pretty, you know, interesting platform when we, you know, went into a deep dive here on the podcast. You can go back. JJ will put in the show notes of the episode we talked about that. But check it out. Let us know in the YouTube comments what you think, I guess, if we'll see how it plays out. But
so
it's a cool event.
This, right? We're all entering this.
I mean, this is what I was thinking, right? Like, isn't anybody entering this? If it's literally, can you beat Post Malone in a match of Magic? Does every Magic pro enter this? Like, you know,
the worst part for me is not potentially losing out on $100,000. It's playing Magic against Post Malone.
Oh, the worst part for me would be being in Las Vegas, like
LA.
Yeah, LA.
Why? You know what? You got a problem with LA?
Because you're gonna get COVID. Imagine getting Post Malone's COVID and not winning $100,000.
It would be,
and you have to fly yourself to
so
LA.
brutal.
Jason, that's not entirely a net negative.
I'm sure they're flown.
There are people who will pay to get Post Malone.
Oh yeah, they would want me to tongue kiss Post Malone's COVID.
Hey, here's the question. Listen, here's the real question. If you truly do have to beat Post Malone in a match of Commander, whatever that means, we don't know. It's a French Commander.
Just kill him.
Who knows? Do you have to
Strixhaven Stadium him out of the game and then just concede? You're like, I didn't have to win the match. I said to beat Post Malone.
Anyway, here's the question though. That puts an EV on it based on who's sitting in that seat as to whether or not they beat Post Malone, which raises the question: what do you sell that seat for?
$25,000.
I think a Magic Pro would probably determine it to be worth more than that.
I was gonna say 40K.
Because you can do the math, right? You can do the math.
I was gonna say 40K. You give them the 60% odd.
Yeah, you got some way. If you really want to go deep, you can account for taxes, blah blah blah. But agnostic of that, yeah, I mean, you can do the math.
Taxes. Yeah. No, I'm getting a briefcase with $25,000 in it. You get $40,000 and pay the PayPal fees or whatever, like a scrub.
In Flesh and Blood,
I'm taking untraceable Zimbabwean.
In Flesh and Blood, you can sell your spots if you earn them.
Somewhere in the fine print of this, it says that you get it in like fucking Whatnot bucks or whatever that you can spend only on Whatnot, right? Like.
You get $100,000 worth of cards from Post Malone's collection, and they all smell like.
They're all like
MetaZoo cigarettes.
They're all like MetaZoo crypto cards.
You know,
By the way,
I
they're
haven't
also
really seen him shill that
Listen,
stuff too
Reed
much.
Duke, yes, and Reed Duke is also involved with this, and Reed Duke is amazing. So like, I don't have, I just truly hope that they're not asking someone to go play $100,000 match of Commander.
I'm gonna hedge and say
That's just
Reed Duke is
fundamentally
not
wrong.
awesome because the only way somebody's listening to this is in 4 years when Reed Duke has done something monstrous, and Corbin's on the cast being like, Reed Duke's unimpeachable, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know anything about him. I've never met Reed Duke. He might be a monster. The reason you're listening to this cast might be very well be true. I'd like to think that Reed Duke is a nice person, but he cuts his own hair, and I can't abide that.
I mean, Corbin cuts his own hair too, so there's the parallel, right? Like,
No
one cuts Corbin's hair.
Corbin not getting a haircut is called cutting your own hair.
I'm over this.
Reed Duke has a homeschool kid's haircut. Back
I'm
me up on
so
this.
glad you're back, Jason. I'm so glad you're back.
I'm so glad your camera shifted and now we can see your bathroom.
Love it. Oh, that's true. What happened? There you go.
Reed Duke seems like a fine human being, but like, isn't that the point?
Don't we all wear masks?
Stop. Just stop. Both of you are terrible. Moving on, though, to something actually
On a scale
terrible.
from 1 to Peach Garden Oath, how
No.
terrible am I?
No, stop it. On speaking of, though, something actually that is terrible. There was some drama at an event recently. DJ's the only one I think who's been to an event recently, but involving the magic artist Mark Teaton. So you want to go ahead and elaborate on what
The
happened
story
there?
is Mark Tedious.
It's a wild story. I don't think it's.
I mean,
tedious
I don't
at
know
all.
how many minutes of audio this is worth, but I just thought it was interesting. I saw a Facebook post that said somebody, and I don't know who it is. It's not like, I'm not going to say their name. I do not know who it is, but somebody was spending exorbitant amounts of time at Mark Teaton's booth over the past several months of events. And they were upselling the content and art they were getting from Mark Teaton for, I believe the number was as high as eight times the asking price. So the guy would go to Teaton's booth, commission some number of items, and have those items already pre-sold, and was basically trying to monopolize the amount of time that Teaton's commissions were available.
So by keeping him busy over the whole weekend,
I don't know
he
if
created
like, intentionally
the
keeping him
demand.
busy like was part of the grift, but like it was, he was getting enough
Yikes.
enough commissions to stockpile and sort of, I guess, make a secondary market out of this. And I mean, Teaton was unaware and was very frustrated, and obviously made the post to say like,
that's
that he was not
crazy.
part of it and that this was not anything he did intentionally, and he was no longer working with the guy. But like, it was just a nice little bit of magic drama that I think
This guy was IRL NFTing it.
That's
right?
not what I would say, but
That's what I would say, man.
okay.
He was creating fake. He was
He's
IRL
funging some tokens.
IRL NFT.
He was funging some tokens.
That's just crazy to actually think about happening, because the magic art community is, you think maybe a little smaller. I mean, I don't know. It's just
I don't know. I mean,
not where you'd expect to find that level of grift or fraud.
The only sort of forewarning kind of I had to it was like at a couple of events I've been to in the past few months. I sat down with customers and clients and just small talk, and they're like, yeah, I was trying to get something signed by Mark Teaton, but it looks like he has like a 5-hour line or something. And I was like, oh, wow, that's crazy. Like, magic artists don't usually have that big of a line, etc. Like, I heard that like 2 or 3 times. And I guess now we know why.
Well, I have to say the explosion, and this is a good place to shout out Original Magic Art, of course. I mentioned magicart.store, but the explosion of the secondary market for magic artists in a variety of ways, not just for the original art that they do, etc., but just everything else involving them, has been great, I think, though, in Magic. Like I said, I know nothing about the finances of artists, blah, 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 but it seems like there's a lot that exists now that maybe didn't even exist 15 years ago in terms of ways for the community to support artists. So,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways for the community to support artists, and you can also support the growing secondary market of Brainstorm Brewery apparel at coalesceapparel.shop/collection/collab/product/brainstorm-brewery-hoodie.
That's the one they're going to go for. Or you can just go to Coalesce Apparel and look for Brainstorm Brewery and use that.
I mean,
gift code.
you can individually type in the URL if you want to be that person. If you just love the thrill of your fingers on the pad.
Typing the word
whatever.
Coalesce. Yeah, it's a good one.
Listen. If I can spell subtlety while pricing it, I can do anything.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I feel you on that one.
If you know where the apostrophe goes in Mind's Dilation.
I know it's at the end of Cathar's Crusade.
Inventors Fair.
How many inventors are we talking? If it's more than one inventor, then it goes at the end.
It is.
Same with Cathar's Crusade, yep.
How many Cathars are we talking? You can't have a one-guy crusade. Don't let those commercials from the 90s fool you. There's no army of one.
No, I mean, we have an army of more than one, and it's more than one people have bought Brainstorm Brewery hoodies and shirts and stuff. We've gotten some good feedback about how well our merch is selling, and it's not because I've threatened to dox people on this podcast. I mean, if
no
it works,
feedback came in regarding the doxing, so there's no counterfactual to what DJ's saying, I guess.
There's no counterfactual.
We should have a design contest for our next t-shirt.
Ooh.
We haven't done a design contest in, I think, 10 years. So
well, we did the
Kraken playmat thing.
The Corbin hits a light pole contest. Remember, we got the Chun-Li video edit?
Oh yeah, we got 3 entries. Those were all really funny.
The Chun-Li video edit was great.
That's some deep lore.
That is pretty deep. I agree. But that's awesome, though. Actually, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, we have just the one design right now. We would like another Brainstorm Brewery shirt design, something memey perhaps. Who knows?
I was also told that a non-zero number of people have purchased our apparel because they liked the word brainstorm and the card brainstorm. So
yep, it would be great if the design. I'm just brainstorming myself here, and go figure. But if the new design was something that appealed to Magic players as a whole. Right? Something cool. I don't know. I've given it no thought, but it sounds cool. So hit it. Look, brainstormbrew@gmail.com is the email if you want to let us know your thoughts and ideas. But I like the idea of turning it into a contest. So we'll definitely figure out some details for that in the next few weeks.
We'll give you enough stuff that you're like, okay, cool. I'm glad I won this contest.
Yep.
Well, you don't have to play Magic against like Post Malone or anything.
Well, make sure when you go to Coalesce Apparel to use the gift code Brainstorm Brewery, which you can use on any of the apparel on the site, including Chivum. You can for casual Magic. There's all your favorite content creators. Yep.
The Ristic Studies shirts are crisp.
Agreed.
I'm a big fan of the black and white.
That's a good classic logo from our buddy Sam at Ristic Studies.
Yep. All right, well, let's move on. Let's talk a little bit about some finance again. It is time for Pick of the Week.
Pick of the Week. Pick of the Week. Pick of the Week. Time for the Pick of the Week.
Coming to you, courtesy, as always, from our sponsor, mtgstocks.com. MTG Stocks is where you can go for all of the latest financial information. That's interests, that's sealed product. You can set up with the premium. You can set up alerts to have everything you need. MTG Stocks is where we make all of our picks for Breaking Bulk. For Pick of the Week, it is the easiest way to stay abreast of what is happening in the finance game, as always. So make sure to go check out the premium side of mtgstocks.com. All right, DJ, do you want to get us started with a Pick of the Week?
Yeah, sure.
Say no. That would be so funny.
Say no. That's not funny.
It's so funny to
that's
slam
what
the brakes on his
that's what
transition.
my 6-year-old does. I'll do the opposite of the
hilarious.
I'll do the opposite of the expected thing. I'm hilarious.
Isn't that just the basis of comedy, Corbin? Like
No.
the core of
No.
Yeah, man.
No.
Subverting expectations.
No. It's not. No.
Tell us more about comedy theater.
I will.
Corbin.
I will. At a later date.
Are you gonna?
At a later date.
Corbin's subverting our expectations.
No, I
You see
didn't
how-
expect him to say something smart. Are you kidding?
You see how funny that was? Like last week when I hosted 2 weeks ago, I guess, when I hosted the stream without Jason, and I apologized to everybody for them not getting to stream with Jason. I said, it's okay, I'm funnier than him. And everyone laughed, thus proving that I was funnier than him. It was beautiful. It was a great moment.
You subverted their expectations because they thought you would say something truthful.
Exactly.
My pick of the week is Hunger of the Ancient One. If you're wondering what that magic card is, it's actually Exquisite Blood
I am.
from the Dracula Secret Lair. It also came with Phyrexian Tower and Knight's Whisper, both of which are very playable cards. And
True.
art is interesting. Not my personal taste.
It looks like it's meant to be like a classic take on Dracula type stuff, I guess.
I'm sure that somebody who is very into 18th century Gothic themes is going to tell us all about what it is in the comments. But my point is that Exquisite Blood has dropped to around $15, and it is a more reasonable price than it has been in the past. We got a reprint in Jumpstart. That didn't do a whole ton to the price. It brought it down to like the mid-30s, then it crept back up to the 50s.
Yeah.
It was on the list. Obviously, that is mostly negligible in terms of supply.
A lot of that stuff that's on the list, they've really had to follow up with a Masters set reprint. Like, look at Food Chain. They thought
But
the
it's
list
still
would do
fine.
something it didn't.
It's still fine to have it. I think.
Wait, honestly, I kind of like them not bringing price down too much, but increasing availability.
That's
the list
the
actually
thing,
is a
right?
great
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, it's fine.
It increases availability. It increases the ability for your average player to find it in a binder at your local game store
Yeah,
or in the
exactly.
local game store's display case, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Exactly.
But I mean, Hunger the Ancient One, Exquisite Blood is $15 is probably still too much for what most people think the card should cost, because its twin is Sanguine Bond and its twin is $1. So one of the more
I thought
infamous
they had
combos.
finally, when they downshifted Sanguine Bond after a bunch of reprints, I thought they had finally killed it, and yet it has crapped it back up. That's what's
It's a
funny about
vampire card, dude. They didn't
That's
stake
what's
it through
funny.
the heart. They just
it. Just slowly
shot it a
regenerates.
bunch, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Sanguine Bond still hangs out at around 2, I guess. It's a bit
Are
more
you
than
saying
$1.
sanguine?
Sanguine.
Sanguine.
Is it like a pasta?
It's sanguine.
Sanguini.
All right, Jason, what do you got?
The card Kindred Discovery was recently reprinted. It went from $50 to $5. Where do you
That's a
think
good
it will
one.
end up? You think it'll end up at 10?
More than
Then you're
5. How
doing
about
pretty
that?
good buying at 5. Do you think it'll go to 20? Typically, cards like this that plummet a lot settle somewhere between the top, which again 55, and the low 5. If you average those two prices, you're in the 30s. Would you like to buy a $5 card that could end up in the 30s if it's not reprinted in the next 2 years? I would. Would you like a $5 erstwhile 55 Kindred Discovery? Would you like to see a V-shaped graph, and instead of me being like, oh, the graph's V-shaped because the price recovered, do you want me to say that in a year and a half? Or do you want me to say now, hey, pretty sure $5 is the bottom. Hey,
Yep.
pretty sure $5 is the bottom.
So normally we are very at least I am very averse to buying foils for spec purposes, especially when like the volume is significantly lower and that kind of thing. So if I was going to buy a brick of these, I would buy the normal versions. But if you're a player and you just want one to play with and you want your copy to go up, the extended art foil, which is the
I was just about to
quote
mention this.
nicest one you can get, is like $6.50.
A little more, but yeah, not a lot. Yeah.
The margin on the extended art foil is very small in terms of the amount of more you're paying for it. So if you're just getting 1 or 2, maybe you get the extended art foil, maybe it goes up more. But if you're all in on this, like, and you want 30 of them, just get the normal ones, I think.
Hey,
They'll be
for
quicker.
what it's worth, the art on the Commander Legends version of this is actually, it's different than the original art. and it's pretty cool. And it looks really good in full art foil. I'm looking at it right now. DJ's right. That's you. I mean, this is a great pick, Jason, and DJ's right. That's a good version to keep an eye on. All right. Well, I guess I can round it out here. So this is a favorite from Old Innistrad. Well, oldish Innistrad. It's been up and down a little bit, and it seems to be creeping back up. But the card Westvale Abbey has dodged all reprints somehow since it was printed in Shadows over Innistrad.
Well,
It has
double-faced
gone-
cards are...
Yep, a little more difficult. Yep. So it peaked at 10. It fell as low as 5. It's back up to about 6-ish right now. Look, I don't know if this could become a Pioneer thing or anything like that. If you can flip it into Ormondal, which of course is a 9/7 flying lively constructible haste creature. That's a lot of work. Like, I don't know if that's going to be a thing in competitive play, but it doesn't take much for Pioneer to move cards these days. And Westvale Abbey has, some potential in Commander always. I'm not sure what its stats are, but it is, it's a $5 card that previously was 10. So it kind of waxes and wanes, but it seems like it's kind of on the upturn right now after falling pretty low. So that's what I'm looking at this week, courtesy graphs of MTG stocks. All right, Jason, before we get out of here this week, I got a pop quiz for you, buddy. You've been gone.
You got to say pop quiz hotshot.
Why?
Because that's what they said in the movie Speed.
Pop quiz hotshot.
Ooh,
How
from
many-
Speed.
How many secret layers are there now? I know you weren't around for the latest round of announcements.
113.
DJ?
127 or 128 probably.
Oh,
You know-
just like a little bit more than mine. You're going to Price is Right me?
Well,
Cool.
if he was Price is Right, he would just have gone one over.
114.
Right?
Yeah, well, he
Yeah.
might as well have.
Might as well have. Actually, not true, because the answer is 119 with the Warhammer ones announced.
Got his ass.
And the Fortnite. God, it's true. If he had Price is Right, you as is the objectively correct strategy, he would have got you. So,
The
a little sad
objectively
for
correct
you.
strategy is to have fun, Corbin, and that's what I do.
The objectively correct strategy is to have Corbin calling you second. You did it.
Yep. Look, I thought that it'd just be fun to keep an eye on that stuff. With the latest, there are 3 Warhammer ones. There were 2 Fortnite ones.
I
don't
ordered
think
the Max
Warhammer
on
ones are out
Street
yet.
Fighter, and I feel
They're not.
like
No.
I feel so dirty. DJ tricked me into ordering the Max on Dracula, and that's just going to be like thousands of dollars of shame that live in my house.
What?
Which
You tricked me
is
into ordering them. You're so confident about Dracula, and then
I
I
still
got it. And I
am.
was like, oh, this sucks. I ordered the Max on Street Fighter. I bet I take a bath on that.
I keep
ordered
saying
the
I
Max
was
Street
gonna.
Fighter 2.
I keep saying I was gonna. They haven't done Street Fighter 2.
Yeah, they have. All those characters were in Street Fighter 2.
Oh.
Only Ryu and Ken were in Street Fighter.
What about Blanca?
Certainly not Blanca.
I don't know any better.
Have you played Street Fighter?
Probably not old enough like
Probably
you.
not old enough to
Yeah.
have played Street Fighter. Nobody has. The game's bad. Street Fighter 2, very good.
Well, I mean, I do remember Street Fighter 2.
Gave us so many racial stereotypes. The drunk Russian bear wrestler, the Indian guy with child skulls on a necklace around his neck, the sumo wrestler, the monster from the Brazilian jungle, the American guy who has a weird flat top haircut. So many racial stereotypes. And I learned them all at a young age, and they made me the person I am.
Okay. I think the most famous thing Street Fighter has introduced into the world is that quote from the movie.
For you,
know,
watching the movie Street Fighter 2 was the most significant day of your life, but for me, watching that movie was Tuesday.
there you go. You see, all I had to do was say that quote, and you got there. I knew it.
Everybody, because Raul Julia was a master, and he went out on top. He could have done another Addams Family movie. He could have done some art film, but no. Raul Julia said, "I want to die in the Thailand jungle. I want to show up so emaciated to shoot that they have to rearrange the entire shooting schedule around me." And you know what? That guy chewed the fuck out of that scenery like a master. That guy was so committed to being Major Bison. What a gift he gave the world. If you go back and you watch that Street Fighter movie now,
I know,
you're
man.
like, holy fuck, it's so funny.
I kind of
It's
want to
so
go watch
funny.
it tonight.
Ming Na Wen is in that movie. Everybody loves Ming Na Wen.
I keep saying I was going to buy a
Agents
secret
of
layer,
S.H.I.E.L.D., DJ.
and then I haven't. Maybe I should have. I was going to buy the Street Fighter one. I was going to buy the League of
Street
Legends
Fighter
one.
movie-
one is like one of the best long-term plays right now.
Oh yeah.
The Fortnite
Listen.
one.
Street Fighter movie holds up just like the Street Fighter Secret Lair is going to. I hope.
Sure thing, buddy. Sure thing. Maybe I'll get one of those super bonus persistent petitioners that are worth like $4 or whatever.
$4?
I don't know, what are they, 50 cents? Like
They're like they're like very expensive because they're really rare.
I know. Not like my Coiling Oracle. Unfortunately.
More like curling foiling oracle.
Is anything really more rare than a Corbin Red Bull Parallel Lives, though?
You could make those whenever you wanted.
Well, I did.
Just like Wizards could do the reserve list away whenever they wanted.
They could just pour Red Bull on it. Bro, do you even know how to promissory estoppel?
That's enough. That is enough of that for now. Everybody, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. We are Brainstorm Brewery. If you want to support this podcast, and really we do ask that you do, we would appreciate it. Patreon.com/BSB. We thank you, everybody, for listening and
Or
watching on
Coalesce
YouTube.
or
Oh, no,
Original
no,
Magic
wait.
Art. We have so many irons in the
I'm gonna
fire.
give
Just
you-
support us.
Listener. Or listeners, if you're listening.
Listeners.
If you're listening in the car without headphones and you have the podcast just like raw dogging your ears with multiple people in the car, then like God save you. But you can either
Jesus take the wheel is what he means.
you can either tweet at Post Malone and ask him to come on the podcast.
You could ask him if he could beat me in a match of Modern.
Or,
You know, he has the most rare Black Lotus on Earth, so like it's not actually that crazy to have him on the podcast.
or
Be great.
you can use that $100,000 you get from beating him in a duel, buy a memory eraser machine, wipe your brain of the entire experience, and then go to mtgstocks.com to recollect your knowledge that you lost because the memory eraser wiped too much of your brain. And then MTG Stocks is just such a clean, concise place to absorb Magic Finance data. You just quick little scroll, and then you're like, I got all my prices back.
You'd be
now.
like,
This is
Lulu
great."
Dallas multipass as the screens on MTG stocks go by really fast.
Then you'll go buy $100.
And then you'll know how to
What
do
is that called? Like a
cartwheels.
Charon or a Charon, something like that? Chiron? Chiron.
Or there's a lot of different things you can call it, but yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, mtgstocks.com. After you give Coalesce your money, then you give our Patreon your money, and then you give MTG Stocks your money, and then you use that
Look.
money to make more money.
All I
Buy
ask,
some original magic art.
all I
That
ask
deal
is
is
that
still
you
good.
lend us your ears. What you do every week, going on for 10 years now, everybody. We appreciate it. Thank
And
you so
or
much.
eyes.
And or eyes on YouTube. That's right. Thank you so much.
YouTube.com/our URL. That'll take you to our page.
That would be youtube.com/Brainstorm Brewery.
Is it really quicker than typing Brainstorm Brewery into the YouTube search bar?
I don't know. But you train your because you only have to do it once and then your
And then
browser
it'll be
will
purple.
remember it. Yep, that's what mine is as well.
And
Yep.
then you click that like and subscribe, and then you'll never have to do it again. So you don't have to go to youtube.com/whatever he said. Just type Brainstorm Brewery into YouTube search bar. We're the only one.
Yeah, all of that.
Why would
all
anybody
of
else have
will
that
get to
name that has nothing to do with... Every time I wear that t-shirt, some old boomer's like, "Girl, Brainstorm Brewery, where's that?" And if I lie about being a brewery, they whip out their smartphone and look it
Yeah.
up. And if I just tell them it's a Magic the Gathering podcast, their eyes glaze over.
Yeah,
And they
that's-
get mad at me for making them think they were going to get delicious beer.
Jason, I
that's-
just give them Corbin's address straight up.
Oh, that's a good idea. Let his homeowners association.
I've had
deal
like
with
the
it.
exact same experience as Jason with the shirt. But hey,
Oh my
that's
God.
fun. It's part of the deal. It's a cool shirt.
Buy our shirts. They get you in annoying
They
conversations.
lead to interesting conversations.
It's a
where you
great
meet
icebreaker.
New people, exactly.
Yeah, you want to meet new people who are annoying.
And you told them about this podcast, and now they're here listening.
Now
to this
they're
episode.
fans.
Right?
Are you a 57-year-old boomer who was at an amusement park and saw a Brainstorm Brewery t-shirt and now you're hooked because this show made your wife mad and you're a
Uh-huh.
boomer and you think there's nothing funnier than your wife being mad? Well, welcome to the Brew Crew, baby.
Got
It
that
was fun, that-
podcast on your iPhone 6 on the
Remember that
dashboard
time
of
you
your
cornered me at a
Ford
wine tasting?
F-150?
Remember that? Well, now you're a super fan.
Well,
the
we,
fuck is
however you ended up here, we appreciate you. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next week. All right, there you go.
Needless to say, I made a podcast.